Greetings from Paphos, this is Father Fernando Flores with the Institute of the Incarnate Word, and in this video I would like to share with you about our pilgrimage from the Latin Vicariate of Cyprus to Santiago de Compostela. During the month of August 2024, the Catholics from Cyprus walked El Camino de Santiago, or the Way of St. James, the famous pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela in Galicia, northwestern Spain, where countless pilgrims have journeyed to visit the tomb of the Apostle St. James since the 9th century. Our group included youths from the different parishes in Cyprus. Also 6 religious and 2 volunteer moms. We had the grace to have been led by our recently ordained bishop, Monsignor Bruno Varriano OFM, the Latin Vicar of Cyprus. We arrived in Madrid on Saturday 17 and visited El Retiro, a beautiful 350-acre park in the center of the city. We were hosted by the Santo Cristo de la Misericordia parish in Boadilla, west of the city, at an old Cistercian convent nearby. And discipline was not a problem. On Sunday we had Mass in the parish presided by Bishop Bruno, and then went to see a few spots in Madrid. First we saw the Royal Palace. Next to it, the beautiful Cathedral of Santa María la Real de la Almudena. With its famous image of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Next, we visited a convent of cloistered Poor Clares where we spent some time with the nuns and had the chance to ask them some questions. And last that day, but not least, we were given a nice tour of the Basilica of San Francisco el Grande, with its massive dome, the biggest in Spain and 4th in Europe. We also saw its large collection of paintings by famous artists from the 18th and 19th centuries. It was a bit of a challenge for our group to travel through the city. We did a bit of walking, and we also used public transportation. But it was fun and very interesting, especially the light rail. We got a very nice view of Madrid, at least most of us. And after some food, we headed back to the convent. On Monday, August 19, after some exercise, we had Mass in the chapel next to the convent, where we did the traditional veneration of the hands of our newly ordained priest, Father Johnny Jalouf, who presided the Mass. As an interesting note, Father Johnny was ordained alongside his twin brother George in their hometown of Aleppo by their uncle, nonetheless, another Franciscan, Bishop Hannah Jalouf, Apostolic Vicar of Aleppo. This was the first priestly ordination in that town in 17 years. A huge blessing for Aleppo after the war 10 years ago. Father Johnny gave us his blessing right before kicking off our pilgrimage. We took a bus to Arzúa, about 550 kilometers northwest of Madrid and 40 east of Compostela. That's the spot where we began walking, but of course we made a few interesting stops along the way. Once in Arzúa, we had dinner and spent the night at a pilgrim shelter. Early next morning, 20th of August, after breakfast, we officially began El Camino. This pilgrimage has some interesting features. For example, most people you come across greet you with the words "Buen camino," wishing you a good way. There are stone markers indicating the distance to Santiago and yellow arrows to direct the pilgrims. But for sure, the most emblematic symbol of the Camino is the shell. Originally, pilgrims would receive a scallop shell upon arrival in Santiago, but those were eventually replaced by a certificate known as the Compostela. To obtain it, pilgrims must collect stamps along the way on a credential to prove that they have walked at least 100 kilometers. Our pilgrimage was relatively short. The first day we walked about 19 kilometers and another 18 the next, so we did not get a certificate. However, it was very meaningful to have Bishop Bruno leading our group, spiritually and quite literally. His Excellency managed to stay at the front of the group the whole time. Our 53-year-old bishop was in better shape than some of us. We also had a little catechism along the way. Later that day, we reached a small town called Opedruso, where we had Mass at the local church Santa Eulalia de Arca. By the way, I felt proud of my Catholic heritage when I noticed the resemblance between this church and my home parish back in Mexico City, San Bartolome Apostol. You be the judge. The locals here, who constantly see pilgrims from all over the world, told us that they had never seen a group from Cyprus. That's when it hit me. This was a historic moment for the Catholics of Cyprus. We had some dinner, spent the night at a local shelter, and started early again the next morning. Then, after some more catechism, a few blisters, a couple sick pilgrims, a busted ankle, sore knees, allergies, and so on Wednesday, the 21st of August at 2:30 p.m., we finally arrived in Santiago de Compostela. Once there, we were received at the Convento de San Francisco de Santiago, where we had Mass in the chapel presided by Father Zach. The next day, August 22nd, the memorial of the Queenship of Mary, we went to the cathedral and first gave the traditional hug to the statue of St. James, symbolizing our embracing of the Catholic faith. Then we had Mass presided by Bishop Bruno. Unfortunately, without the tiraboleiros, the servers who operate the famous Botafumeiro, we couldn't see this ancient giant thurible which swings from the central dome in the cathedral to incense the whole church. This practice goes back to the 14th century, as too often it was necessary to clear the air in the cathedral of the pilgrim funk. After the Mass, we were kindly received and given a small tour by Father José Fernández, the Dean at the cathedral. We had some time to walk through the streets of Santiago, buy some gifts, get some food, and play some games at the convent. On Friday the 23rd, we had Mass in the Church of the Franciscan Convent, where the youth leaders were presented, and we received the traditional blessing of Saint Francis from the Franciscan friars in Santiago, by the hand of Father Miguel. And with our adventure coming to an end, we packed up and took the bus back to Madrid to get ready to fly back to Cyprus. El Camino de Santiago was quite an experience. It gave me a sense of gratitude towards those who have walked before, tracing the path and making it much safer for us, like our Catholic faith. We are all fellow pilgrims in this life, The road gets tough, but it is beautiful. With good company, cheering each other up, and a little bit of sacrifice, one day, with the grace of God, we will reach our final destination.